everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the iTunes Fanboy Podcast. Unfortunately, Tabbypears couldn't make it this time. Couldn't make it in this episode, but I'm still here, and Alice from Meow Tech, as we promised, is also here.
All right. What do you think we should talk about today?
So first up, in terms of Apple news, I've actually got to add another topic here. Okay, there we go. But first up in Apple news, Apple actually warned developers about outdated apps and was going to and if developers didn't update their outdated apps, that they were going to remove them. Yeah, Apple is still keeping their outdated apps on the App Store.
How do you mean? Like any outdated apps? Because I know for sure that there's some apps that have been pulled off. Are you talking about like apps that haven't been updated by the developers?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I think that Apple should, if Apple isn't removing their own outdated apps, then that policy. I know a lot of people, developers, claim that Apple's policies are mean, like with their 30% cut and everything, but this is genuinely mean.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think the 30% cut is that bad. I think this is just a bit more harsh, and it's another example of Apple kind of treating, others differently and being unfair because they tend to do that in other ways, in my opinion.
Yeah, again, it'd be like me telling all of my friends to go vegan. Yeah, I wouldn't despite me not going vegan.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah, so now Apple is also requiring customers in India to fund their Apple IDs in order to make purchases.
Why?
I don't know.
It's pretty weird.
My guess is
I
likely
wonder
due.
if that has to do with India, like their regulations or something.
I'm
I don't
going.
know.
I'm going to guess so, but about the actual funding, I think that is a little. The funding is a little weird,
Yeah.
and my MacBook's fans are going.
Already?
So yeah,
Is it a i7 or i9?
it's an i9.
Oh, yeah, that explains why that is.
Yeah, even though supposed to be Intel's most powerful chip, it gets hot. It it doesn't take it much to realize, this is too much for me.
Yeah, it's certainly a good chip and everything. It's just that I don't think the MacBook Air has enough. I mean, Pro has enough to cool it.
Yeah, yeah. So if you guys remember from a previous episode when Tabbypears and I were talking about the Apple Watch Series 8 temperature sensor and how it would be restricted to only telling women when they were fertile,
That's all it does.
that's all it was rumored to do. But now it's not going to be restricted, and it's going to actually tell people, tell everybody their body temperatures to detect when there might be fevers and such.
That's kind of an odd restriction on it. I don't know.
Yeah,
Kind
so
of reminds me of like how Apple will say one thing and then do something else.
yeah. Yeah, again, these are just rumors. This is not official stuff. But yeah.
Right.
But
But
yeah.
depending on the source, a good amount of the rumors do come true if they're from good sources.
Yeah. Yeah, so that'll be pretty, and it was rumored to come with the Series 7 also, but there were some issues, so it didn't come with the Series 7, but I'm glad to see it coming on the Series 8.
Me too.
This
Do
is
you
not.
think? I haven't looked up any rumors about it yet, or like looked in detail. But do you think that the Series 8 is going to feature a different design, or it's going to have the same curved edges and all?
I think according to rumors, it'll probably feature the different squared off design.
I actually remember rumors of that design in 2020 when the iPhone 12 came out, and I actually was excited for that. But yeah, that never happened.
Yeah, so yeah, so Apple, so that's pretty neat. But so
What
so
do you think
BOA.
of? Oh no, go ahead. There's just something I wanted to bring up after.
What did you want to bring up after?
I wanted to talk specifically about the notch, or not the notch, the pill-shaped cutout on the 14 Pro that is rumored to be there.
What do you think about
Um,
that actually?
Honestly, I have mixed opinions because I get their point in doing it, but because the normal 14 is still going to have the A15 chip, it's still going to have very similar features to the iPhone 13. However, they do need that kind of a different type of notch because like to distinguish it because they want to distinguish it from the normal 13 models, and they want to make you actually want to upgrade to the Pro. Um,
Yeah,
but on the
again,
other hand, looking at the in the in the original rumors, it showed like a smaller pill-shaped cutout, but it got bigger. There was a picture of the leaked display glass, and it turns out to be a bit bigger than those rumors were originally showing. And I
yeah.
feel like it kind of cuts into content more than the notch. That's what some people have also determined. And I've always thought this when the Galaxy S10 came out and it had that hole punch. My dad got it pretty close to launch, and I was like, "Yeah, this is cool," but I feel like this is just kind of a show off that they can do that because the fact having this hole punch, this big hole punch on your screen with these tiny row of pixels above that actually are not going to be used at all, I think it would be better to just put the camera off more to the corner so you have more screen real estate without the camera intruding too much. So I kind of feel like I don't know. I kind of like the original notch to be honest, but
Yeah, yeah, I personally think that I do agree with you about the camera being moved over to the side. I think that would give more screen real estate personally. But I personally think that more people are going to actually go for the pros this year, even if they don't necessarily care about having the greatest performance in their phones, just because the pros don't have the notch. The pros have satellite. There might all 14 models. There's been some mixed rumors on which models will get satellite connectivity, and the
I it sounds like something that would come to all models to be completely honest.
yeah, and the pro and the pros and the pros and the pro and the ultra will have far better cameras, and I think more people will be sold by more cameras.
Right. And not only that, people want the new iPhone because it's different. The 13 Pro, yeah, had a smaller notch, but now we're gonna have no notch, and a lot of people are gonna want that. I feel like it's kind of a situation where, like, when the iPhone 13 came out, or not came out, but when it was rumored, and people saw how it was like the 12, but they just moved the cameras a bit, and they were like diagonal. People were like, "Oh, that's disgusting. I'm never buying that." And I did the same actually back in I believe July of 2021. I posted on my Instagram story and I was like, "This is disgusting, Apple. Please don't do this." And they did it, but it actually has kind of grown on me, just like a lot of different things that Apple has done. Because you know, you can't change the product. It is what it is, and I always start to like them, and I feel like that's going to happen with the 14 Pros cut out.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I personally like the standard 13 maze camera lens design, but I am kind of sad to see the 13 mini that there's no 14 mini.
Right.
But again, if it
I
isn't
do
getting new
understand.
features anyways, then
Yeah, I understand why they want to add the Max. I do feel like people will be able to get a bigger phone without having to buy the Pro model, but at the same time, the Mini may not. I know it's the best business decision for Apple, probably based on their uh, research and everything, like on their sales. But at the same time, it was really an iconic phone because I when I got the 12 Mini, it was like you know it such a small phone with the latest performance. There's a kind of appeal to that. Like I can go and use an iPhone SE first gen. Yeah, it's a little smaller. Yeah, same as having like the latest iPhone just super small. But I don't know. Maybe it was more of a novelty for me.
Again, the SE is kind of the smaller phone, so I can't understand why Apple's doing it. But again, if the
Right.
14 mini wouldn't be getting new features anyways, then why even have a.
Oh, well, actually, I saw a video yesterday, and and I'm not sure what the source was, but it said that the iPhone SE4 may have a notch, being just like an iPhone 14 mini, basically. With not exactly, maybe spec down, but something similar to that.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. And so let's get on to the next action. Hang on, my MacBook's battery is actually low. I should probably. Yeah, I should. First, I'm gonna plug my MacBook in because its battery is getting low. It's at 21%.
Is the battery generally pretty good on that MacBook?
It's mediocre. It's not as bad like on my 2014 MacBook Air, but it's not as good. But it's not as good as my 2010
My
MacBook
2015
Pro.
MacBook Air, it had like 600 something cycles, but I actually got another MacBook Air 2015 from my friend that had a damaged board and a broken LCD, and I put that battery in there only at 106 cycles, so I put it in mine, and now the battery life is pretty much amazing. So that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So now my MacBook is finally plugged in,
Good.
but. So, as some of you may know, BOA, a display manufacturer, has been trying to sign a deal with Apple for years.
And Apple does not use them, I would assume.
Yeah, because they haven't met Apple's quality standards. But this time they finally did meet Apple's quality standards, so Apple signed a contract with BOE so that way they would be cheaper than the normal Samsung and LG panels that they use.
Are those going to be used on the 14 models?
They were going to, but you want to guess what BOE did?
Yeah.
They were changing the iPhone 14 screen design behind Apple's back.
How can they do that? Like, did they honestly think that would work out? That Apple would just be, okay with that?
Oh no, Apple was not okay with that. So now Apple is not signing a contract with BOE.
Good. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know how they thought it was okay to pull a fast one on Apple.
I mean, if I was them, I would have to be pretty stupid to think that Apple would, like, just be okay with it. You know what I'm saying?
Apple pays
Like,
so much attention to detail that they would notice
exactly.
something like that.
Like, if they change the display, it may not even fit on the phone. Like, it's gonna look completely different from what the images of it they've already created. Like, what are they doing?
It makes you seriously wonder what they're doing, but so,
Yeah.
do you want to guess the prices of the iPhone 14 lineup?
Let's see. So, I would guess that the 14 Pro would be $999. 14 Pro Max would be $1099. Typical prices. The 14, I would say, $799. Wait, no, this kind of doesn't make sense with the Max. I would say the 14 might be like 679, and then the 14 Max might be 799. That would be what I would guess.
Well, the base iPhone 14 will start at $799.
What
The
was the 14
14
Pro?
Max will start
Oh, the
at
14 Pro. Yeah.
$899. The 14 Pro will start at $1,099, and the 14 Pro Max or the 14 Ultra, depending on what Apple will name it, that'll start at $1,199.
So they're pushing up the prices. I
Yeah,
mean,
I guess
It
that
doesn't
must
seem
be to.
justified.
That's probably going to be accommodated for the satellite costs.
Right.
That's the only explanation that
Maybe
I
like the
know.
camera too. Maybe not so much the camera, but maybe the displays are going to be more expensive because it's the first time they're doing that.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Personally, I don't think I'm going to be buying any new iPhone models this year. I bought the iPhone 10. I bought the iPhone SE first gen new. I bought the iPhone 10 new, 11 Pro, 12 Pro Max, 13 Mini, and 13 Pro new. But I don't think I'm going to be buying any iPhone models this year because, if I'm being completely honest, I actually don't like 13 Pro and the 14 Pro. I understand people are going to like the pill-shaped cutout, but I personally don't.
yeah, the only thing that I would see come in handy is satellite connectivity because there are
Right.
because there because one of my great aunts and uncles actually have actually had to has they have to use track phone because they can't use any other carriers because they live in an area so isolated, and yet track phone gets signal from tries to get signal from all the different companies.
Yeah, I've heard of that before.
So
It would be definitely useful if it can work with cellular plans. That would be extremely useful
or
because
let's
I know that I actually lose service a lot, even though there's a tower like visible from my window. Sometimes when I go behind the wall, I lose service. So
yeah,
I don't know.
my dad actually doesn't get there's actually a part of my house with no cell signal.
Which part is it, if you don't mind me asking?
It's part of the living room.
Interesting. My old house used to have terrible cell signal because it was a lot more like in the woods in a more rural area, and I would have like one bar most of the time, and it doesn't help that I had a FiOS router from 2008 in that house, so I'm glad we moved. But yeah,
Yeah, again, it's not that hard to upgrade routers, but still.
yeah, I think my parents just didn't want to put in the work to get a new one because my dad's kind of like, if it works, no need to get a new one.
Yeah, my grandma's that way too, so yeah. So,
Yeah.
for the iPads, Apple has patented a keyboard that supports external accessories.
Haven't they also patented a Mac OS mode too?
Yeah, like they patented a Samsung Dex like feature, which will be awesome.
Yeah, I I've always found it funny how Apple has said that an iPad can replace your PC because it really can't. I need to have a MacBook, but if they do add that, I would actually consider it. Like I would try using it because I think the iPad would then finally live up to that standard.
I have actually tried before, and it actually isn't too hard. The only thing is pow. The only thing for me is just because power for me, but again, I can get more powerful iPads than what I have.
Right.
I mean, they're rumored to come out with an M2 iPad Pro later this fall.
You know what well, different topic I kind of want to discuss is that the phones seem to be just kind of leveling out, and iPads and all. Like, they don't seem like they're getting better, but the old chips are actually performing so well that I feel like it's impossible to notice the difference. Like, the M1 is so good. Like, nobody needs M1 on an iPad even. I mean, I'm sure there's some people that push it to its full potential, but it definitely wasn't needed on the iPad Air 5th gen. But like, how much better can these devices keep getting? Because every year I look at the new iPhones, and that's why I use an iPhone 11 Pro as my main, because I have the 13 Pro, but the 11 Pro I feel like that's when iPhones were the best. Because since then, they just keep adding these features that I feel like they're just looking for something to add. I don't feel like they're really trying to improve, because all they can do is improve camera, improve battery life, change the display a little bit, and I don't know. I don't really like that. I want them to add features that people want. Like when I originally got the 11 Pro, I was upgrading from the iPhone 10, and I was like, this thing has amazing battery life, has an amazing camera, it has an amazing design. Whereas I don't know, the iPhones are just kind of getting boring to me now.
Yeah, they again. That's why satellite connectivity will spice them up back again.
That's true. If you do look at like the 14 Pro isolated, it would definitely be a very good phone, I can say. But if you look at the models in between, the progress they've made, I just feel like, I mean, if you compare the 12 Pro and the 13 Pro, the only difference is you get a better camera and you get that new screen with the 120 hertz and the smaller notch. And yeah, there's smaller features that there's people who will notice those, but people like me don't really notice them that much, except for the battery life. And that's just what kind of makes it feel like, yeah, I know they want to improve, but it kind of makes the previous model feel useless. The 12 series honestly seems a bit useless to me currently because it's kind of in between. I think people should get either the 11 Pro or the 13 Pro. Um, but like if you look at older iPhones, there, I should be able to want to buy every iPhone. Like I've had every iPhone model pretty much, except for the standard 12 Pro and the 13 Pro Max. But like there's some certain phones, like the newer ones, I just don't want to keep them in my collection. Like I don't feel like using them because it's not something crazy different from my 13 Pro or my 11 Pro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Again, every 5 years they tend to do something really innovative. Because with the iPhone 2G, they obviously introduced multi-touch with the five. That introduced that introduced the bit the new cam that introduced 4G and the bigger screen with the 10 that introduced the all screen design. And so that's why I feel that the Pro or higher end models are actually going to be called the 15s because the 5 year anniversary of the iPhone was the iPhone 5, 10-year anniversary iPhone 10, 15-year anniversary. It only makes sense to do a fifth make call it the 15.
That's true.
And
It would feel kind of out of place, but at the same time, it would be cool. I think.
yeah, it feel kind of out of place, but that seems like something Apple would do because of how much attention to detail Apple pays.
Right. What was I gonna say? I was gonna let me think.
Also, Apple.
So yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, or you go ahead.
All right, all right. So I do feel like Apple needs to be a lot more innovative in terms of the design and the iOS. So hardware and software, I feel like they used to be a lot more innovative because let's compare the iPhone 2G to the 3G. They added 3G, but they added a plastic housing, which I don't really like that much. 3G to 3GS, they didn't do that much. But once you go after that, there are others in between years, like the S years. And if we compare 4 to 5, we got a bigger screen. We got no glass on the back, which a lot of people liked because it wouldn't crack anymore. We got a very nice slate black color. Go from 5 to 6, complete redesign. 6 to 7, we got water resistance, Taptic engine, home button, a really good camera. We lost the headphone jack, but those were kind of the differences that made you feel like, yeah, I'm actually getting something new. Uh, I'm just gonna group the 8 and the 10 together because they came out at the same time. The 8 is pretty similar to the 7, but the 10 completely changed it. Once again, if we do the skip a year thing, we get to the 11 and the 11 Pro. I do feel like there should have been no 11. I feel like that should have been like the iPhone 10R2 or something, because the 10 or 10s going to the 11 was kind of a downgrade. But if we look at the 11 Pro, we got crazy new features compared to the 10. But if we jump to the 13 Pro, yeah, we have a better camera, we have a different screen and stuff like that. but I'm not sure what I'm trying to get at. I just feel like these newer iPhones don't give me a feeling like they're innovating.
Well, again, Apple is going. Again, Apple will. So Apple will. So Apple is planning on moving towards two different directions. Number one, VR. Their mixed AR and VR headset. They want to move into
They're
that.
going to be making one, or is it like confirmed at all, or they're just thinking about it?
Oh yeah, they. Oh yeah, it's confirmed. It's gonna come out sometime later this year or next year.
That's interesting. I've always wanted to get into VR, so maybe that'll be my way into it.
But at the same time, I don't see the benefit of VR over an iPhone or an iPad.
That is true. I feel like Apple should kind of. It doesn't really fit Apple that much, but it depends on how they do it. It could be really Apple-like, and it could attract a lot of people to it. But I don't know. There's some really good VR headsets and stuff already out there, like and programs and stuff. I don't know how that's gonna do, but
Yeah.
it's Apple, so it should do good theoretically.
Again, the only benefit I see of VR right now is gaming.
Right.
Is role playing games. But other than that, I don't really see. But other than that, I don't really see much with VR because VR headsets are bulkier than iPhones.
Right.
The
That's true.
navigation,
The
I don't
only
see.
application that I can see is also gaming, which is like I don't. Yeah, it's cool to have, but I don't really see a point in it other than gaming.
Yeah, because how would you navigate it? You would have to like navigation would be the best navigation so far for VR headsets is the way Oculuses do it.
Right.
But again, but again,
I
at the
would think
same
that
time,
Apple
you
would
might
have
as
to
well
make
just use a
those.
phone.
Right, and Apple would have to make those separate controllers then, and who knows how they would do that if they do.
And also, well, so you might think, well, Apple could just dedicate it to gamers. Apple's tried dedicating different devices like the Apple TV to gamers before, and as we all know, it hasn't really appealed to gamers.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say that Apple and gaming do not seem to mix well so far.
Yeah, so I don't see how Apple's going to succeed in this. But
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
but there's a second far more important direction. Quantum computing.
What exactly does that mean?
Quantum compute I can't it's hard to describe, but the way current computer chips work is that they have to be pushing out electrons and such.
Uh,
But if there's no but and then they have to but in order to make chips faster, they have to stop pushing out. They have to put fewer and fewer things to push out the electrons. And at the same point, and then once they get to zero, then electrons will still go through, which will essentially
right.
make our chips bricks.
I just looked it up. That actually seemed like a really interesting thing. Like I have to look more into that. But
Yeah, yeah, and you can
yeah,
already yeah. So quantum computing will fix that. iOS currently takes up like 5 gigabytes of storage or something, just
yeah. I think
alone.
it's like there was some IPSW that I was downloading. It was actually like 6 gigabytes or like 5.90 something, and it never used to be that big.
Yeah, even in iOS, yeah, yeah, even iOS 9 on the iPhone 4S is like a 2 gigabyte file.
I believe iOS 7 was like 1 point something, so they're just getting bigger over time.
Yeah, and macOS of course takes up like 12 gigabytes. Windows takes up like 27.
You know what bothers me is on my MacBook. Let me actually get on it right here. If I go to about this Mac here, and then I go to storage and I click manage, it well, give it a minute, but it has this category other than like for Mac OS. Give it a second to load. So it says Mac OS is 15.19 gigabytes, which is obviously getting bigger, just like the iOS. But if you give it a second here, it's going to have this other category that's huge. And I don't know what that is. I've restored my MacBook. Yeah, we have this system data category, and it's 29.8 gigabytes. I have no clue what that is, or why that is necessary at all. I still have about 200 gigabytes free, so it's not really an issue. But at the same time, it really bothers me that I'm not getting that full storage amount on my MacBook. And it's not because I have a 2015. Okay, I seen the same thing on the 2021. It was a little less, but what is that? Like, I can't seem to find an answer online either.
What I think it is its web history and overall just saved data.
But I literally restored this MacBook, and it went down by like 3 gigabytes only. So that's definitely something
that's
that
actually
bothers me.
that's actually quite a mystery now.
Yeah, like all the research I've done, I cannot find what that is. People have different theories on it. People are like, oh, go into the data folder or whatever. Is it called data? No, the library folder, and like, oh, delete the stuff out of this cache folder and stuff. But I don't see how that's possible. I've tried it; it doesn't work. And when you set it up, it's like that. So it makes no sense to me.
Yeah, so I don't know about that, but we actually got way off topic.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Sorry about
on
that.
the last part of the news feature is actually relating to Google. So Google is getting ready to announce their Pixel Buds Pro.
We don't have Pixel Buds Pro currently.
No, we do not.
Oh, it's actually surprising. They're a bit late for that.
But guess what? Colors they'll be coming in.
I only have to assume that they might be based off the Pixel 6, or maybe not. Maybe more off the 6 Pro. That's my best guess.
They will be coming in real red, carbon, limoncello, and fog.
What are the limoncello and fog? What colors do those look
I would
like?
assume fog is gray and limoncello. Lemon, I know, is the Spanish word for lemon, so I'm gonna assume that that's some form of yellow.
Yeah. That, I don't know. Another time that Google is just doing a weird color scheme. Like, if I were to buy them, I would probably want either blue, or maybe green, maybe black. But I don't know. I feel like they should add either more colors or just have a limited range of colors. Because on phones like the Pixel 4, for example, they had black, white, and they had orange. Like, it doesn't really make sense why they add certain colors but not others.
Yeah. Again, I do kind of want an orange iPhone.
I do like, you should look into getting a Coral XR or 10R. That's something that I want to get.
Those are just a little too out of my price range for a collector's item right now.
That's true.
So that
If I were to buy one, it would probably be more of a daily usage device, like a secondary. Because my secondary is currently an 8 plus right now, which is pretty good. But I think I recently sold my iPhone 11 because I just felt like it was not doing much for me. I used it pretty often, but like I felt like I didn't need something that good. So yeah, I sold it.
yeah, again, I don't really use a secondary because I just use one phone. But yeah,
Having a secondary is nice. Like, suppose you're on a call or something, or you wanna, or one phone. Suppose your one phone dies or something. Like when my 11 Pro dies, I just reach for my 8 Plus, and it's pretty nice.
Yeah. Funny enough, I came from an iPhone 8 Plus to an 11 Pro Max.
Oh, interesting. How is the 11 Pro Max, by the way?
It's pretty good. My only complaint about it is that this applies to all screen iPhones, is that I find myself taking accidental screenshots a lot.
It's kind of weird for me. I always find myself taking accidental photos. I think because the way I hold my iPhone, like I'm always touching the camera button on the lock screen, but I'll just have a bunch of random photos. I have to go and delete them.
Yeah, I don't really. Yeah, that's pretty silly, but yeah. So now, yeah. So now let's actually talk about something that is actually a specific topic that you requested.
Right, yes, I remember this.
The usability of older Apple devices.
Right. I've heard a lot of different opinions on this. Um, but there's people who wouldn't use an iPhone 11 Pro in 2022, for example, because they say that it's too outdated. However, I was at the mall like 2 weeks ago, and I saw so many home button iPhones, unbelievable. And I don't think it's that people can't afford the newer iPhones. I think it's that people are happy with their older iPhones. They don't need anything better.
Yeah.
And that brings me to say that I feel like some people's standards are too high. I'm not saying people are like spoiled or that people should buy older iPhones. Like if you have the money, sure, go for it. Buy the newest iPhone. But I'm just saying that like I think they're a lot more usable than people think. Like buying a used iPhone is definitely a considerable option for people who want good performance, but they don't want the latest.
Again, a lot of people are a lot more weary of buying used items just because there's always the risk of it not working correctly, or there's a risk of getting scammed, which is
I've
why.
certainly bought used iPhones and had issues with them. Back in 2018, I bought a used 128 gigabyte 6S because I wanted to try to main that instead of my iPhone 10. Because I cracked my iPhone 10 and I was like, okay, I'll use this until it gets fixed, whatever. And I ended up getting scammed pretty bad. The battery was bad, the charging port was finicky, the mute switch did not work, like it would flip by itself, and the screen was an aftermarket and it was pretty bad quality. And after that, for a while, I actually did not buy any used iPhones. I bought like phone mods for like fixing and selling and stuff, but I was kind of done with used iPhones. However, I feel like if you have the knowledge, like the knowledge that I've gained about used iPhones, is that you need to look for the right seller and you need to look out for the right things. You need to, like, I can look at an iPhone on eBay or wherever, and I can tell if the screen is OEM. And before I buy any iPhone, I always ask what the battery health is, because that can be a pretty big issue, especially for people who don't know how to replace the battery themselves, or if it's a phone that gets the important battery message and stuff like that. But I feel that if people did know about these things, they could definitely be less worried about buying older iPhones.
But again, yeah. But again, though, people do use their phones for professional things and do need the latest and greatest performance now. As Tabbypears
Right.
said in his iPhone 10s video, you can't use an older iPhone for 2022 tasks.
It depends how old you're going. If you're going to a 6S, yeah, probably not. But an 11 Pro, it does pretty much everything it needs.
Yeah, like you can't use an old. Yeah, like you can't use an older stuff for modern tasks.
The 10S, all of its issues aside, it doesn't compare to the 11 Pro at all. Like there's just a huge jump in camera, battery life, everything. Plus,
Eh.
the A12 does have overheating issues, as a lot of people have seen.
Yeah, and the A10 also has a lot of overheating issues too.
Yeah, definitely. On my iPhone 7, one time I was on a FaceTime call and that thing overheated so bad that it became extremely laggy, and actually got a temperature warning just sitting on my bed, untouched. It was not even charging. So, and that phone is actually on iOS 13. It's not even on iOS 15. So, yeah, that's definitely a bit of an issue.
Yeah, and as Jordan Riddles, who is going to be a guest on this podcast, I think in either 2 or 3 episodes away. I'll have to check again, but he actually has an iPod Touch, 2 iPod Touch 7s, and when I was retweeting something about the iPod Touch supposedly being fun at full speed, Jordan Riddles commented, "Fun at the full heat of an industrial oven."
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think it's funny, by the way, how they still have that fun at full speed slogan on the iPod page when it's definitely not full speed.
It's an underclocked A10, which is why I don't think it'll even be getting iOS 16.
Yeah. If it does, I'd be pretty surprised, because then, they have to design all their UI elements around a 4-inch screen when there's no other 4-inch screens in the lineup. So I don't think it really makes that much sense, because the SE, assuming that the 6S and the SE you're not getting it, there's definitely no reason for the iPod Touch 7 to get it.
Yeah. And of course, overheating causes the batteries to degrade so fast.
Right.
As Revac Tech actually had to get like 6 or 7 replacement iPod Touch 6s because of the batteries.
Wow. Yeah, the battery in those is it's pretty small to begin with. So once it goes bad, you're definitely going to be having a lot of issues with usability.
And Alpha Day Wolf, who will be the next guest on this podcast, according to him, his sister got an iPod Touch 7 for Christmas 2020, and towards Christmas of 2021, the battery life on that was getting so bad that it had to be plugged in like every 30 minutes or so.
Wow. You know what? I remembered something that actually I find kind of odd. I had the same iPod Touch 6th Gen from late 2012 until June 2016, when I broke the LCD on it, and unfortunately my dad threw it away because he didn't think I could fix it. But that's another story. The battery lick, that thing was bent. It was dented. It was cracked. It was worn shiny from how long I had it and how much I used it. And I don't remember having any battery issues. I remember taking that to school, and I would be coming home at the end of the day with still having half battery life. And I'm not sure if it's because I didn't use it as much, but it's kind of strange, because did I just get a super good battery or what? Using an iPod Touch 5th Gen now, they all seem to have bad batteries, which it makes sense with the age of them, but I don't really know how I managed to use that thing for almost 4 years without getting a bad battery.
Yeah, I actually used an iPod. I actually used an iPod Touch 5 that was bought used and manufactured in late 2012. My mom got it used for my birthday back in March of 2015 when I wanted an iPod Touch. And I used that thing until the summer of 2019, because even though in April of 2019 I got an iPhone 5C, I still used the Touch 5 as a secondary because my 5C only had 8 gigabytes of storage.
If I remember, in 2019, iOS 9 actually had okay support still.
Yeah, so that was me. Yeah, I did not used to have the latest and greatest tech. I did not used to have great tech, but that's 5th gen. The battery on that didn't actually go bad until just in the past few months when I've started noticing it.
Do you still have it?
Oh yeah, it's the iPod Touch 5 you see in all my videos.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's that same iPod, but yeah, Yeah, but I actually started noticing it in 2020. So again, so I think what happens with the iPod Touch 5 is that as soon as you stop using it as a daily device, the battery just doesn't know what to do and gets bad.
Right. Especially if it's like not charged, like it's completely discharged, it'll definitely get bad. Like, here's a perfect example. Is my Galaxy Note 8 I bought in August of 2018. And then I used it up until I believe it was December 2019 when the AMOLED broke on it, so I just kind of put it away and forgot about it. Battery life is still great, of course. I come back to it in July 2021 and I fixed it, and the battery life was absolutely horrible. And I was like, okay, maybe it's not calibrated. I just need to charge it a bit. Nope, that thing dies in, I would say, less than 2 hours of usage just from being discharged for that long. So that's definitely a reason why these older iPhones are don't have good battery life. Like I have these two 8 pluses here. One of them hasn't been used since 2019, and it has 88% health. The other one was used up until very recently, and since launch, and it's got 77% health. The one with 77% health somehow seems to last a little bit longer, and I don't know. That's another issue with buying used iPhones. You don't know how long they were used until. But yeah, it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, it is definitely very interesting. So yeah, so so my iPod Touch 5 isn't it? And funny enough, my Apple Touch 5 hasn't gotten fully discharged in quite some time either. Like it
I
never
would
gets
say as
fully
long as you charge it
discharged, which
every
is the
month,
weird
you'll
part.
be okay. If
What?
you charge it like every month, I think Apple says 6 months, but I don't know about that. I would say to charge it every month, and then if you're not going to use it, just power it off, and you should be fine if you do that.
Yeah. Again, I just charge it whenever I feel like using it, and whenever I use it, and keep in mind that I have a dual boot to iOS 6, so there should be its original firmware, and yet the battery on
Okay.
that thing lasts like 20 minutes.
Wow, that's not good at all. That's
Yeah, and
pretty bad.
I think iPod Touch 5 batteries are soldered too, so
Yep, they are. Same for all iPod Touch batteries, actually, pretty much.
I think the 6th and 7th gen batteries aren't soldered.
They are actually. I've opened them, and it's literally, if you've ever watched like a teardown video, the internals are exactly the same as the fifth gen. Exact same process in opening it, exact placement of everything. The screens are compatible. The batteries are compatible if you do solder them. The sixth and seventh gen housing is compatible, stuff like that. It's just pretty much an old design that's been reused because they don't want to put effort into a new design probably.
And Trevor from Trevor M actually made a custom red and black iPod Touch 7th gen by taking his old 5th gen screen and exchanging it with his 7th gen screen.
That sounds pretty cool. I might want to try that. In fact, that sounds like a nice color combination.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's not going to be. Yeah, it's like it's getting into an iPod Touch is like getting into an iPad.
Yeah, I've actually gotten a lot of practice with iPod touches. I used to break pretty much every single one, but I would say about 4 out of 5 that I try to open and repair, I don't damage them if successful because I cannot do the battery. That's the one thing I can't do.
Yeah, so now I'm actually curious. How did you get interested in technology?
So pretty much, I've always had an interest in technology. There's literally baby pictures of me from like when I was 1 year old playing with like flip phones and stuff. Um,
Playing with
and
like
it's just
what?
always flip phones.
Oh,
Like my parents' flip phones, and I used to get old flip phones from my parents, my grandparents, and stuff like that. I actually have a flip phone that I've had since I was 4, which I really like having that because of the sentimental value and stuff. But
you've
yeah,
which model iPad have you had since you were 4?
it's a flip phone. It's if you want to know the model, it's a Samsung SDH U340.
Hmm.
Pretty typical Samsung Verizon flip phone. But yeah, always been into tech pretty much. And I would say that I really started trying to collect when I was actually about 9. I had a good amount of different devices. Nothing really the latest, but I had my iPod Touch 5th Gen, I had an iPhone 4S, I had a lot of older Androids and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I've always been interested in tech.
Yeah, and if you watch one of my previous episodes, I did explain how I got interested in technology.
I don't believe I saw that one. I think I've watched like 2 of them fully so far.
Yeah, so my story. I know you guys are probably gonna have heard this, but Alice hasn't heard this. But I got an iPad 1. I stole my mom's iPad 1 that she had gotten for Christmas of 2010 back, or right after Christmas of 2010, early 2011. But she luckily let me keep that. And after that, I slowly started getting interested in technology. I unfortunately no longer have that exact iPad because it died in November 2013 due to a logic board failure, I think, and my mom eventually threw it out.
That is unfortunate. I always like having my older devices, so that's sad.
Yeah, but my second oldest Apple device I do still have, which is my iPad Mini 1. I got it back in Christmas of 2012, and let me actually get out of my cabinet. Actually,
That's a long time to keep one device.
this iPad right here, I've had since Christmas of 2012, and it's cracked up obviously because several years ago one of my cats dropped it.
You should fix that honestly, or maybe get it fixed because like, it's pretty cool that you had it all that time.
Yeah, and it still runs iOS 7.0.2.
Is that the original version or is it downgraded?
Nope, it's just never been updated past that.
Wow, that's honestly a really cool story behind that.
Yeah, because I stopped using it once it got cracked, but then July 2019, my mom found it again, and I got a screen protector for it to obviously protect my hands from these cracks.
Right.
And now,
I do have right here actually. This iPad 4 I've had since July 2013. Same exact case. Unfortunately, the touch is dead because, as you can see, it's cracked here. But I think it's cool that I've had it for so long. I actually just bought a screen for it, and unfortunately, it's on iOS 10. But yeah, definitely got some old stuff on it and stuff like that.
yeah, and I'm booting the iPad up right here. It has a really amazing battery, but but even despite
iPads
being,
actually, unlike iPhones, they tend to like keep battery life. Like for example, this iPad here, the iPad 4,
yeah,
it's been charged for about 4 months, and it's still on 59%. And if you realize, I can't turn this off because the touch doesn't work. So that's like insane battery life.
yeah, and this iPad hasn't been charged in quite a while. I think maybe over a year or something like that, and yet it's still at 44% battery life,
Wow.
or 4%.
Do
But
the power off slider, like hold it and do the thing.
oh yeah, let's do the classic power off slider. But as you can tell right here, I have all my old apps on it.
That's actually super cool. I'm like almost jealous of that because I have no older devices that have like the original apps on them. Like my iPad 4, I think when I got like an iPad 6th Gen, I just deleted all my apps off of it because I was like, okay, I don't need this anymore. But I highly regret that now.
Yeah, again on this iPad Mini 1, I did actually reset it back in 2013 because I was playing around with the settings, and so unfortunately I don't have my old apps, the original apps on it, but I downloaded most of them back, which is kind of sad because now I don't have any, because because I don't have many old photos on here, even though I probably took a bunch.
Like in iCloud?
No, because this iPad's still on my mom. This iPad was always on my mom's Apple ID, and I don't. Now I think the few photos I did manage to take did save to her iCloud.
Well, that's good. Same for my iPad 4. All of the photos from like way back are in my dad's iCloud.
So that's the story of how I've gotten my. So this device I've had for the longest time, and it's 16 gigabyte iPad. So
I actually do want to show one device here. I know not everyone's going to get to see it, but I want to pull it out here to tell the story behind it. It's right here. So this iPod Touch right here, I have had since late 2010, actually. The case is not coming on.
will it get fixed?
I kind of don't. I want to keep it original because it's been cracked since 2016 like this. And just look at the amount of scratches. It's only 8 gigabyte, but this thing still works amazingly. And the battery lasts because there's never been more than 6 months that I haven't used this iPod.
How long what is it does it still run iOS 4 or 5?
Unfortunately, no. It's on the latest version because in the past I've always had a tendency of updating my devices, but it's nonetheless cool to have. It does have a few old games on it. You see, it does turn on here.
Yeah, I do. In fact, I do have an iPod Touch 4 running iOS 4. If I put I just discovered that my iPad Mini 1 is bent.
I actually do have one too somewhere on iOS 4.3.5. It's only 8 gigabyte, but it's still pretty cool. Another cool device I have actually is an iPhone 4S on iOS 5.1.1.
I have one on 5.1. I have one on 5.1.1 too.
How many gigabytes is it?
16. It's jailbroken and everything.
Mine is 32, but what color is yours?
These are actually all my first through fourth gen iPod Touches that I keep in storage. I keep them all in one stack.
I've got all my iPods, like classic iPods. I've got pretty much all my very rare devices in this little box right here. I've got lots of iPods, iPhone 2G, HTC G1. Here we have an iPhone 3G on iOS 2.0.
I have one on 2.0 too.
Oh, nice.
Again, I downgraded that one.
Downgrade this iPhone 2G via your tutorial. I definitely need to try that.
Yeah, I obviously downgraded my iPhone 3G via my tutorial.
Yeah, I definitely want to try that. Especially, is it possible those tutorials would ever stop working?
No.
Or
for the 2G.
Is it something that's like?
No, for the 2G at least it's per. As long as for 2G at least it's per. The only concern is that Windows XP doesn't seem to recognize Wi-Fi 6 routers anymore.
Yeah.
So that could be a potential way to stop it. But these are actually all my first through fourth gen touches. So I've got one first gen. Unfortunately, its backlight is gone. And I probably won't get it fixed just because a lot of these tend to develop that issue. And its screen is water damaged and all that. But it still runs iOS 1.1.
Wow.
I have two second gen touches. One. I'm gonna see if one of them is dead, but one of them is booting. Both of these run iOS 2.1.1. I downgraded both of these. One of these came on.
I think I had one on iOS 3 before, but
you can downgrade them to iOS 3 easily. And to just boot, and the one on iOS 2 is booted.
This iPod is booted here. Unfortunately, I guess there's not any old games on it. But
you can jailbreak it and try to get them back.
I know I can get some of them through purchase, but like not most of them.
I also have two third-gen touches, both of which are in pretty good cosmetic condition. One of them, unfortunately, which used to run iOS 3, is completely dead. Its motherboard died, which is sad because it had all sorts of old apps on it. But I have another 32 gigabyte third-gen touch that, hang on if I get, yeah, both of these things are flat, great, but both.
Batteries are probably not amazing in those.
Yeah, but one of them runs 4.1, which I downgraded. I need to do a downgrade tutorial about that. Of all the downgrade tutorials on my channel, that's not one I.
Definitely popular.
What'd you say?
I feel like those are definitely something that's like popular because, like, I don't see many people doing those tutorials for those versions.
Yeah, and I have. This is my 4th gen running iOS 4, which is also
What
dead.
version of iOS 4 is it?
4.3.1, and of course, if you are wondering, it is jailbroken, which I jailbroke via Jailbreak Me.
Oh, nice.
I have this iPod Touch 4, which I geek graded iOS 5.1.1. I got this from one of my mom's friends. It's a really nice iPod, and all my iPod Touches except for the 5th gen, except for the 3rd gens in my 5th gen are 8 gigabytes, and the rest are 32 gigs. And this right here is another is an iPod Touch 4 with a pink case that I got in the lot. I don't really use this much just because it's just a black iPod Touch 4.
Is it on iOS 6?
Yeah. I should geek grade it to iOS 5 though via my tutorial.
Yeah, definitely. Get some better use out of it. Make it more of a.
But at the same time, it has a lot. That one in the pink case has a lot of old apps on it, such as an old Netflix app, Temple Run, Jetpack Joyride, I think, Pandora, and it has the ABC Family app on it too, which is now Freeform.
I've had like all of those apps. I really wish I could get the old versions of them.
Yeah, again, you can actually on iOS 8 and higher, you can downgrade apps via a tweak called App Admin. I've never tried it, but a lot of people have, and they enjoy it.
You should do a video on it whenever you get the chance. I would love to watch that.
And yeah, let me just put all my iPods back.
I like your Apple boxes, by the way.
Yeah, it's my infamous box tower.
I've got a good amount of like iPhone boxes, but I wish I had like a place to set them up. I might put like a little shelf on the wall. Like this wall right behind me is empty. I think I'm gonna do it there. That would be pretty cool.
Well, so remember back last week when I cut. So last week I cut out the part about the Jewish hacker trolling me because I was trying to see if I could get him to go away. That did not work, and he just texted me and said, "Duckman Maggart."
Well then, interesting. That's really weird how it happens. Like when we're on the podcast, it's not me or anything, but that's like odd timing.
Yeah, that is odd timing because how come they always know when we're recording the podcast? I'm gonna have to invest.
That's my question. Does it happen on other days?
No, just when I'm recording the podcast. And yeah, I don't know how he would have found how this troll would have found out that I was recording the podcast.
I said in a chat that I was going to be doing the podcast this morning, but
that's probably
there. I don't think anyone in there is a troll, but like
I don't know. What is the account I like phones 2022 in the chat?
Definitely not. No, he's blocked and will stay blocked.
Yeah,
His real name is not Dan, by the way. I believe it's Mike.
Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna respond and say, "Hi, the Jewish hacker. How are you today?" I'm gonna see what he responds.
Freak out.
Yeah, 'cause you know. Has he gotten you?
Yeah, definitely. You should see the amount of texts that I get. Actually, I definitely get multiple numbers a day, new numbers. I've had a couple fake Apple IDs, and let me. I'm looking right here. Yeah, I got one yesterday. Let me read a little bit of it. Your reign is at an end. You're against my religion. Where did you get your years of regret, you worst? Don't use foul language at me. You have an alibi? Your house smells like roast beef. Do not work yourself up with the claims. Why are you ignoring? I will not be a knife. I ask money from you. You have the keys to the hotel. Because I'm going to set this MF on fire. Hello, please respond. I say, what a bit of serendipity. Now we have that fellow's dress. Yeah, none of that makes sense.
Yeah, I know. I know. And he actually just. And when I asked him how he was doing, he told me to f myself. So I told him to. So I told him that back, and he didn't respond.
Yeah, probably because you mentioned who he was.
Yeah.
Is
So
it an
he.
Apple ID? Or is it a number? Or what is
Luckily, I haven't gotten anything on my Instagram yet.
That's good.
Finally got
Yeah, good.
as an explanation.
I don't know how to stop him. That's the thing.
As by
He does not stop texting me.
by the way, as an explanation, I had to stop the QuickTime recorder quit, so I had to record another clip. But yeah, that's.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's.
This guy also knows my dad's middle name, my grandparents' names, my dad's work address. Somehow, I don't know how, he got all of that information.
Yeah, I seriously wonder who. Yeah, I seriously wonder who the Jewish hacker actually is.
Yeah, me too. And my question is, can he actually hack? Because I would assume that maybe he can somehow. Because I mean, he's literally gotten a ton of info that's not available online.
Yeah, like he's gotten my parents' names. He hasn't gotten my grandparents' names yet.
That's good. He's actually tried to contact my parents before. I'm not sure if it's him, but it's someone. He's actually last night. So I was downstairs with my mom. It was about midnight, and her phone starts ringing like crazy, and she was getting like different numbers each time, like 10 different numbers. And she thought it was like me or something. And I was like, no. And I said, well, why don't you pick it up? And she picked it up, and this guy kept yelling about his hot doggy, and he had an Indian accent, and just saying really random stuff.
Oh, Tabbypears would be happy to know we finally have confirmed that the Jewish hacker is located in India.
Imagine he's like an Indian scammer.
I
do think it's possible that he was using an accent, though. Hard to tell, but
I seriously do.
Gathering info, and we'll find out who this is.
Yeah, I do. I do seriously wonder though how the Jewish hacker is getting all my information though. Like, are my computers infected with malware?
It seems to be happening to a ton of people in the tech community. That's the thing. People that I know and people that I don't know as well. Or like, yeah, this person's been texting me too. I'm getting random texts. Like, I'm in this Discord server, and people are the same numbers are texting them. Like, people I have no clue who they are.
Yeah, and so I don't know. Yeah, so it really makes me wonder if I've gotten. Beatrice just walked on my computer, one of my cats, but
I do that a lot. Or she.
Yeah, she does, but I seriously wonder, like, how's the Jewish hacker getting information? Like, how is he hacking?
Yeah, because the information that he got on me, I looked it all up on the internet, and my dad's middle name's like not on the internet. Like, you can't find it at all. So, yeah, either he has some type of source, like maybe he might have some website that he can like pay for or something. But if he's called the Jewish hacker, I kind of feel like it's very possible that he can actually hack.
I actually. One thing I do wonder is if he actually works for the Department of Records. or some department like that and can easily
That would
find,
make sense how he would have so much info.
or if he's a cop or something.
Right. Well, a bad cop too, because
Yeah, he's trolling us and he's scamming us. Yeah, my guess is he's probably not a cop.
Yeah. I don't know. It's pretty confusing. Like, I thought it's like, oh, I thought this person, that person, but then, like, you know what happened one time? One of those weird emails that was texting me, like an iCloud email address, actually called me at like 2 a.m. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, your video cut out. But one of those email addresses called me at 2 or 3 a.m. and it was a redhead guy, and it was like, and he was like, I'm in Australia, and it was literally daylight outside his window. So I don't know.
I'm actually going to see. Yeah, I'm actually going to see if I've gotten anything on my YouTube channel in terms of comments.
Yeah, good idea.
To see what the Jewish hacker has done. No, the Jewish hacker is not. The Jewish hacker just finally gave up, which is nice to see.
Well, I don't know. The best way for him to give up is to like not give a reaction, because I always find myself replying to the texts and stuff, and then I just get more texts. But I've honestly come to live with it because I've been getting these texts for so long. Like, I don't even care anymore. I'm very accustomed to taking my phone out of my pocket and having like 50 messages at any time.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, so I'm actually curious. How did you get interested in YouTube?
In YouTube, so basically, back in 2016 and 2017, I used to watch a lot of tech videos and like phone bin find videos. And when I saw those, it kind of made me want to start my own channel. So I started my own channel in 2018. As soon as I got the iPhone 10 in in late July 2018, that's when I started the channel. And yeah, ever since then, I've been doing lots of different videos.
Do you actually still? Do you actually? But but your oldest upload on your channel is like a year old though.
I did rebrand my channel because a lot of the old videos were pretty stupid because like I didn't have the skills for YouTube and stuff like that. So, for example, one of them was a 30-minute video of me walking around at school, like outside my school, just drop testing phones. It was just me talking most of the time about random things, and I kind of wanted my channel to have a different feel to it. So I deleted all of those old videos so I could kind of start fresh.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, I really like doing YouTube. Honestly, it's fun because like I actually got Instagram after I got YouTube, and I made my account on Instagram because people were asking me to. But like if I'm posting them on Instagram, that's one thing. But being able to talk about it in a video, I mean, it gets a different audience. You know, definitely good.
Yeah, there. Yeah, so you, and and do you actually know how I got started on YouTube?
I believe I do. When you used to post Berenstein Bears videos like a long time ago, I sorted by oldest, and I believe you said that on one of your podcasts as well.
Yeah, if you sort by oldest, you'll actually see all sorts of old, very cringy videos that were filmed on my iPad 3.
Yeah, that's how I felt about my old videos, and I was debating whether I should delete them or not, but I was like, yeah, you know what, I'll just delete them.
My old videos are not deleted, but they certainly aren't quality.
Yeah, it definitely shows the history behind your channel though, which is like really cool.
Yeah, cause I'm really amazed that I didn't start doing videos on Apple Tech, cause I've been interested in Apple since for over 10 years at this point.
Pretty much same for me.
Yeah,
I'd
so I'm
say about maybe 11, 12 years even for me.
yeah, so I'm a bit surprised that I didn't start doing technology videos, but meanwhile I started doing Berenstain Bears videos back in July 2016. And in August 2016, after I'd gone through all my books, I was stumped. Like, what do I do next? And then late 2016, I just sort of faded away from YouTube entirely. And in 2017, I thought about maybe doing YouTube videos about like education stuff, but I didn't like that the videos that you watch in schools. But I decided not to do that because I didn't have the skills, and also I wasn't even using YouTube very much back in 2017.
I would say that I started using YouTube, like, actually for watching content, I would say most in 2017 and more in 2018. Like, in 2016, like, this kind of ties into my phone history, but in 2016, I had, I believe, a cracked iPhone 4S with a bad battery, and, what was it? Like, an LG Optimus Exceed 2 was my phone service, so I didn't really have anything good to watch YouTube on back then.
Yeah, and so now I don't. Yeah, so now I obviously have better. And so back then I had finally gotten an iPad Air 1 and an iPad Mini 2, but I still just didn't really feel like doing YouTube. And in summer of 2018, I actually considered doing YouTube, and I originally wanted to do more gaming videos, but I actually did record a YouTube video. I don't have it anymore, unfortunately, but it was of me and my mom upgrading the RAM in my 2009 MacBook.
That's cool.
So
it would be cool if you still had that.
I recorded a bunch of videos, but I never actually posted because I needed to remember how to post to YouTube again. So I never actually posted any tech videos until December of 2018.
I see.
And then in early 2019, what did you say?
My channel, I think I started it, oh, yeah, I already mentioned it was in July. In 2019, my channel kind of faded out. Like, I didn't post much in 2019.
Yeah, so in early 2019, I showed more interest in YouTube. And in later 2019, my uploads got very inconsistent, like only once or twice a month. But again, but 2019 was still a good year for my channel because it showed my commitment to it. It showed that I clearly wanted to do it. But in late 2019, I got kind of stumped because I wanted to make my videos better, but I didn't have all the resources to necessarily make them better.
I definitely I want to step up my channel. Like, I want to do more, instead of just, because I always post, like, at random times, like, the phone bin finds videos, because, I mean, that's what I originally started watching, what made me create a YouTube channel, but I also want to do more videos like you, where I, talk about tech, and I do tutorials and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's my dog. Yeah.
What was the first Apple device in your family?
The first Apple device. So, that's actually that's actually a bit of a weird question. By the way, in case you're wondering what that wheezing was, it's one of my dogs, Jack. But
How many dogs do you have?
5.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, or no, 4 actually.
What breeds are they?
Jack is a basset hound, and he's 12. Dixie is a mutt, and she is also 12. And then I have Mabel, who is a Great Pyrenees, who is 9. And then I have Big Mike, who is a Newfoundland, who is 7.
Nice.
Yeah, so yeah, those are my dogs. I have a bunch of cats, but it would take too long to explain all my cats.
Yeah, definitely. I swear I've seen at least like 9 cats in different videos and posts and stuff. It's hard to count them up though.
Yeah. And what was I gonna
Back to the question.
Yeah.
The first Apple device.
I said earlier that it was my iPad 1.
Oh, no, I mean like in your family. Like, did your parents have
Oh,
an iPhone before that or anything like that?
oh, yeah, that may. Oh, yeah, now I remember, but. So, my mom started in her school back when she was in elementary school of using Apple IIe's and C's and whatnot
Oh wow.
back in her school, and she played Oregon Trail and such. And my dad back in the late 1980s had actually worked a job where he worked with Macintoshes, but they didn't
Wow.
actually own those computers. And my family after that became more used Windows a lot more, and my parents also didn't used to have a lot of money, so my parents never really got into Apple devices
I
until the
see.
until the iPod Shuffle second generation. Then my mom got one back in, I'm going to guess '07 because it's the blue model. In fact I still have it in my big shelf right here. And then my dad also got one of those, and my grandfather also got one of those. My dad's and my grandfather's are both silver, and my grandfather's does work. My dad's doesn't old one doesn't work, and my mom's old one is iffy.
That's actually a pretty long history. I think my dad had a really old Macintosh back in the 1980s, and then fast forward after that, we didn't have any Apple products until the MacBook Pro 2009, which we bought in Colorado actually when we were on a vacation, and um, but it was kind of like the first time buy, and then my our whole family pretty much got into Apple after that. My mom got the 3GS. Soon after, my dad got the 4, and my dad got the 5, the 7, the 8, and then he got a Galaxy S10, and now he has the 13 Pro. Like, and they've always been into MacBooks and stuff like that.
Yeah, So then after my dog is Jack is sure making a ruckus outside my room. But my mom then back in the summer of '09 got an iPhone 3GS. That was a white
I believe that's
model.
when my mom got it as well. How many gigabytes was it?
I don't remember. It was probably 16 or my mom mentioned it costing like $500 because she got one off contract. So I think it was probably a 32 gigabyte model because my
My
mom
mom
tends to.
had the exact same phone. She got it right around the exact same time, actually. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, because my mom had seen her other friends get iPhones and enjoyed it, and so my mom got the 3GS, and then in March 2011 she got the 4. She got the iPhone, or sometime in early 2011 she got an iPhone 4, and then in late 2011 my dad decided to get an iPhone 4S because he was
Interesting.
previously using a Motorola. And after that, my dad got my mom a 5 that was only 16 gigabytes. And a year later, because 16 gigabytes was not enough for my mom, my da- my mom got a probably 64 gigabyte 5S. My my dad got our old 5, and I got my dad's old 4S, which is my iOS 8 iPhone 4S.
You still have it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And then my dad got the fire. My mom got my dad the Fire Phone, and my dad got and I got his old 5. Unfortunately, I no longer have that 5.
What did he think of the Fire phone?
It was too confusing to find a specific app. He had to actually get his replaced once because the charging port on his first one died. There was little app support, just all sorts of
Yeah,
stuff
the
like.
app support, I feel like, is kind of a big issue on those phones. Because, like, it's a cool concept, but I think it was not really that popular because of the app support.
Yeah, and if Amazon had made up for it by being cheap like they do with their Kindle Fires and their Echoes, then the Fire Phone would have been great, and it would have been a
Right.
huge overnight success. But it was not a huge overnight success.
I feel like the Kindles really target a specific market because it's a especially kids. I mean, who don't need the latest and the greatest. I mean, it's the latest, but not the greatest. But you know what I'm saying. Like, they really target a specific market, and that's why they work out so well. Like, for anyone looking for just a basic tablet, it pretty much works perfectly.
Yeah, they're again not as high quality as an iPad, but they're certainly better than my $12 tablet.
Yeah.
That
That thing,
12
it couldn't connect to the internet, could it?
it could connect to the internet, but the date and time wouldn't update it, so it was basically update on it, so it was essentially useless.
I see.
And every time I tried to change the date and time, as you watched in that as you probably watched in that video, it glitched out.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah,
Probably just an issue with the software. I think if it could go update the date and time, it would be like okay, like for some things, but eh.
it was still really slow too. My video that video that I did would have probably been like 5 minutes longer if I hadn't preloaded everything on it, because you guys would have had to have waited for everything to load, unless I cut it out
Yeah,
in iMovie.
true.
It is not a good tablet, I will say that, but
Personally, I would opt for a used iPad of some sort. Like, I would rather use a used iPad or first gen over a Kindle, but there's people who would rather have a Kindle. It's just personal preference.
yeah, again, people prefer to buy new things.
Right.
And so yeah, so Apple does does Apple definitely. So yeah, and somebody commented on that video saying, "You will never see me using an Android tablet except for entertainment." And I'm like, I agree.
I feel like some Android tablets are good, like the Samsung ones. There's some cheaper ones. There are some really nice ones. I've never had them before, but I mean, for people who use an Android phone, I feel like they would probably like those, but it's not really for me.
The only issue with Android tablets is that most of the apps that you can get on them are optimized for phones,
Right.
which is why
One really cool thing. I don't know if I would consider this cool or if I would consider it an issue really, but I had a Galaxy Tab S, which is basically like the Galaxy Tab 5. They just wanted to add the S branding because it was released at the same time as the S5. And when I ran Instagram on that, it actually did a full screen version of Instagram where I could see probably 20 stories on the top of my page. It was all really zoomed out, like phone size, but on a 10.1-inch screen, which I actually thought was really cool. And another thing I could do with that tablet is, for instance, games like Subway Surf, I could rotate it into landscape and actually play it in landscape. It was the weirdest thing. It actually worked perfectly. I could see more on the side of the screen. I feel like if iPads brought that, that would be kind of cool.
yeah, because
Like, I use Instagram a lot,
why
and
is
there's
there
no
no
iPad
proper
app.
Instagram app for the iPad?
Exactly. Like, that's always bothered me, and it'll continue to bother me. I don't know why they don't create one. Like, it's been long enough already.
And you know what? And the iPad doesn't even have a weather app or a calculator app built in. These are basic
Yep.
things that it should have that it doesn't.
You can always get third-party ones, but I mean,
It's not the same
yeah,
as just having it built in.
right, definitely. I remember when I got the iPad 4, and I was like, okay, where's the weather app? And I was like, okay, maybe they're gonna add that, and yeah, they never added that.
There's actually an automated Twitter account that says, "Does the iPad have a calculator?"
Oh, that's funny.
And of course,
I'm gonna follow that right now.
and if it's and of course it's automated, and it says the iPad does, as of this date, the iPad still does not have a calculator.
I wonder if that would actually change. How fast that would change if the iPad did get a calculator. Does the iPad have Yep, there we go. I found it.
Yep. And so, is there anything else that you want to talk about on this episode?
Honestly, no. Nothing comes to mind.
Alright then, so I did this with Tabbypears on the first episode, and I'm going to do this with all my guests, but I'm going to send you a link in Instagram DMs.
Okay.
As soon as I find Instagram. Hang on a second. Alright, and now I've got the link copied.
Alright.
And so now I'm going to send.
Instagram and waiting.
Okay, and so now you should get a link to the alphabet.
Oh, should I load this up on my MacBook?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. This will be interesting. Taking forever to log on for whatever reason. Look at this. It's stuck.
It's beach balling now.
Yep. Yeah, I've had the same MacBook Air since 2015. Definitely shows some signs of wear from being very old.
Yeah.
I guess it's stuck. That's the weirdest thing. Did it just... Wow, what do we have here?
The black screen of death.
I have not seen this in a long time.
The black screen of death. It's like the blue screen. The black screen of death is apparently like the blue screen of death, except on macOS.
Yep. And it's something that does not happen often, at least not for me.
It doesn't happen often for me either.
MacBooks are more reliable.
Or I've never actually seen the black screen of death before now.
We're getting a bit of a slow boot here for some reason. There we go. Let's try this. Alright. Come on, log in this time.
Cute cat wallpaper.
Yes, definitely.
Is that real?
Now it's going to open Steam, and it's going to open Spotify, and it's going to open everything. So give it a... What were you asking about the cat?
Is that actually one of your cats, or is it just a photo?
It's not. Unfortunately, I do not have any cats. My mom does not like them. But,
I do.
I think it's a pretty cool cat.
I have plenty of cats. As everybody who watches my YouTube videos knows. There are 5 cats.
I have that many cats.
There are 5 cats in my room right now.
Wow. That sounds so cool to just have all these cats around your house.
It is not. It's not. The novelty it is, but it also isn't at the same time.
Yeah. Alright.
But of course, when you have cats outside and such, then the number kind of adds up when you bring them in.
That's true.
Alright, now I'm going to start typing, and you're supposed to do this 3 times.
Okay.
I did it in
Okay.
6.946 seconds.
I got 5.878.
Oh well, let's try again.
Someone has a time of 0.00 seconds. I reset it. Hang on.
I got mine done 14.91 seconds because it seems to have an issue with input lag.
Yeah. Okay. So for this one, I got 5.505 seconds.
Okay, let's try one more time. A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U V W X Y Z. 11.639 seconds. This site sure seems.
I got 5.711 on this one.
What web browser are you actually using?
I'm using Safari.
I'm using Safari too, so that's weird.
On what? Mac OS, I would assume Monterey?
Yeah, Monterey, of course.
Try doing it without saying it, because I feel like that might have slowed you down, because you were focusing on, like, saying it more.
Alright, I'll try one more time. No, this is a different one. .548 seconds. What is going on? FaceTime is lagging for me. Hello everyone. Hello everyone again. So QuickTime Player just cut out for me again, but so what we meant to say is that this is the end of. You have successfully watched another episode of the iTunes Fanboy podcast. I am your host, the iTunes Fanboy, and he is the guest, and Ilays is the guest from Meow Tech, and we are signing out, and we will see you next week, or I will see you next week.